The last speaker, the next speaker is now Anas. He will present another feasibility study. And this feasibility study was the offsite integration of data exchange. And it's going on screen now.
Thank you, Kai. I will try to make it a bit short so we can catch up. As Kai said, this feasibility study was about cross-site data exchange using a public whiteboard server. I will come back to the whiteboard server term because I don't think it's a really standardized or well-known term here. By the way, my name is Anders Taulo, and I'm from DTU Electro. And if you have any questions, just put up your hand and I will try to answer. How does this one work? Does it work? It does not work. Okay. Good. First, a bit about the motivation. Why do we want to exchange data cross-site? That cross-site, I mean, without the or outside the DTU network. We want to be able to collaborate with external partners so they can actually access lab facilities within SysLab or PowerLab from a site outside the, you can say, the SysLab lab IP domain. Furthermore, if we can do that, we don't have to relocate people. For example, with Alex that Anna talked about, his first study here, where he came from Vienna and spent 2 weeks here. He could possibly have done that study from Vienna. Maybe not the second one regarding interfaces, but at least the first one. And finally, an advantage of this is that we have a clear division of roles and responsibilities. There's a very kind of physical interface that splits the two parts. So the challenge about this is that we have firewalls. You cannot communicate into our lab, and we cannot communicate into whatever IP domain the control software is running in. Furthermore, we might have dynamic IP addresses that changes. So it's not easy. So what we want to do is we want to establish a server outside in the public, you can say internet domain, that's accessible from both the control software and from our lab. And simply just have a text file here that we can write to, a whiteboard. So both the control software can write to it and entities from within the lab domain can read and write from this server. I would like just to take a step back, introducing one of the partners we did this study with, Inseo Software. They're involved in the FINISC project, which is an EU project under the 7th Framework Program. And they are building an aggregator structure or infrastructure in a lab. They control themselves, live lab, which is located in Horsens. And they have 25 households where they can, right now they can monitor and log power consumption from heat pumps, PVs, electric vehicles, and then they have solar collectors with waters as well. And it's the idea that in time they should be able to control all these units and deliver power system services. Related to the iPower project, which has been mentioned, they will take part of one of the demonstrations and work as an aggregator. And they will have to read data from some of our lab entities or assets within SysLab. So that's why this feasibility study came up. So how did we do this? We have two different domains, and you can you're not allowed to, or not, you cannot communicate into the lab. You have firewalls. So instead, we set up this server, whiteboard server, running PHP scripts, so we can actually write to this server, and similarly, we can read. So this server works as a mediator between lab entities and control software. In this case, an aggregator. So they just have to agree on what data to be exchanged, and we write that on the whiteboard server as a key value pair. So you can look up any key, find the value. So from this, we found out that it's quite easy to build. It actually took Oliver less than a day making these scripts. We haven't finished the client yet. We're still working on that. So, but that should take a couple of days maybe, because it's plainly HTTP. So, like Anna said, that it's a non-specific language. We can make our client in whatever, Python, for example, Java, whatever we like. So that creates a quite flexible setup, and also makes it easier for our partner to kind of play with us if they want to. Furthermore, we have shown that this is a quite efficient and stable alternative to VPN connections, which we might control ourselves. Probably here we had to call the IT department to set up a VPN connection and shut it down afterwards. And this is a solution that we can control ourselves entirely. And finally, it's a flexible interface. We can extend it as we like. Inseo can call us, could you please add this value? And we write that value, and they can read it. So, yeah. Any questions?
How often this whiteboard is updated?
We can do it in sub-seconds. So it's quite fast. It's not real time, but it's... I mean, the processing power you need is so little.
It's because it's handled with the PHP script, I think. It's not the real text. It's
Yeah, it's just, I mean, a small piece of text that you send. It's written, and you can read it again.
From the lab, I'm thinking about the high-power demo. Probably you will talk about later. So from the lab, you will upload some data into the web server and read some data from
Yes.
the web server.
And you could send feedback. I mean, for example, the aggregator could send a set point that is read from an entity inside Syslab, and it could transfer some feedback to the server, which again is read by the aggregator. So every connection is made from the inside and out. You have no... The control software will connect to the whiteboard server and retrieve the data. You have no connections going into the different domains.
Is there some security consideration? Because I mean, everybody.
I actually thought about it, but no, I don't think so. I mean, it's just a small piece of text, and if your lab entity expects, say, a value between something and something, I mean, you cannot push other data into the system. You have to pass that data somewhere.
I think you could, but it's because it's text, you can modify it easily. Because with protocols on the internet, if you send text, there's also, on top of it, there's verification that this text is exactly what the person wrote.
Yeah.
And not something that was modified on the way. So maybe if we implement something like this, like a checksum in the end, then it will be more...
You could. There's also a login on this, or verification. So you cannot just write to the server. You need a...
With two values, you don't know who wrote this there.
No.
Yeah.
One thing, how is the concurrent access automatically managed?
It's synchronized on the server. So you cannot read while there's being written to the server.
And can you know if the value you're reading is a new value or a...
Yes, there's a timestamp. So when you read it, there's actually a timestamp, and you also log who wrote it. So you can actually see at what time who wrote it, and then the name of the data, you can say, and the data itself. So you have these 4 pairs, or 4 entities in.
And what time is it sent?
That's Linux epoch time. So So that's from 79 at 70.
No, yeah, but who determines?
The time?
Is it the sampling time or is it the time of the server where
It's the time of the server.
when it is written?
Yes, I'm quite sure.
So it's synchronized there.
Yeah.
Because in Syslab you have to synchronize the time between the
Yeah.
application.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you
But we
don't know-
cannot use milliseconds, and I don't think it really makes sense in using the whiteboard
but
server for.
It means that you don't know when the data has been sampled, you only know when the data has been written to the server.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
Which is a risk that you take if you, yeah, maybe you could add
It's a
another
decision.
timestamp.
Yeah, you just have to agree on.
But then perhaps the time between
And you
the
could-
Syslab
you
is not
could-
synchronized with the time of the controller. Then everyone uses. So
Isn't it a problem here in terms of, say, real time? Say that an alarm happens in the lab, you want that to go as fast as possible.
Yes.
And it will take some time to go through all this, right?
Yeah.
Have some delay there.
I think maybe the full round of I mean communicating out and back, that could be done in a few seconds. Is my best guess. But we're not talking more than.
Really severe alarms, you know. it has to
But
be executed
but
in
but
seconds.
naturally also the control software has to. I mean it has to retrieve. You cannot push messages from the whiteboard server and out. You cannot send notification saying, "Oh, now something is happening." So the control software will have to retrieve data every second to catch it.
so it's not for critical.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It will be a controller inside.
Yes.
Nobody will put it outside.
But this is simply for making things a bit easier. Working with people in Horsens and also in Aalborg.
I think it's a good idea for sharing data even, but there is a server that somebody could take some data from consumption or production of the user.
Yeah, definitely.
So regarding the demo, you have a slide for that?
No.
Okay.
No.
So,
Yeah, it's a bit out of topic, I think so. So I left it out.
okay.
But Aalborg University will control downloads inside the laboratory doing the iPower demo, and maybe in time, INSEO will control consumption in PowerFlex House. Yeah.
And is INSEO sending a power with a power max set point, right? That would be,
In theory, it could be anything, but a power reference, yes, or a power max, it could be both.
it could be both. So you're sending a power max. You're asking a power max service in this case to the lab.
That is what we want to demonstrate in the iPower.
This power max is decided by INSEO, which is the aggregator.
Yes.
Who has, are you thinking of giving information about the status of the DER to the aggregator in order to decide better how much this is this power max, etc., or is just a value that is coming from other type of information which doesn't refer to the DER?
You could define a parameter for flexibility or capacity, you can say, or comfort of your entity inside the Syslab network that you could actually feedback to the aggregator.
Yeah.
But I think maybe it's another discussion.
Yeah, and we have time for discussion also,
Yeah.
follow up. I think here it's mostly about the communication and then it's bidirectional.
Yes.
That's what it comes down to.
Yes.
And we have heard about the speed. Are there any further urgent questions that relate to this use case, but not